Long before the Death Star, a single fallen Jedi and a double-bladed lightsaber brought the entire Galactic Republic to its knees, unleashing a dark side plague that changed the galaxy forever. Greetings, my fellow scruffy-looking Nerf Herders, and welcome back to the Infernal Brotherhood. Today we are stepping back nearly 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. This isn't the era of clones or stormtroopers. This is the age of the Old Republic, where Jedi were plentiful, the Sith were a rising shadow, and a single sprawling conflict reshaped galactic history. This is the story of the Great Sith War, also known as the First Sith War. The road to the Great Sith War wasn't paved overnight. It began with the lingering rot of the dark side on the world of Androu. Decades after the death of the Sith King Freedon Nad, his dark legacy remained. A group of dark side worshippers called the Krath, led by the aristocratic cousins Seital and Alima Cato, seized control of the Empress Teta system. When the Jedi intervened to stop this dark side coup, they underestimated the sheer malice of their enemy. The Republic fleet was ambushed, and the young, headstrong Jedi Knight Ulic Qel-Droma vowed to destroy the Krath from within. He went undercover, intending to infiltrate their ranks, a decision that would seal his doom. The Krath infected Ulic with a potent Sith poison, slowly twisting his noble intentions into a bitter, vengeful rage. While Ulic was falling to darkness in the Empress Teta system, another tragedy was unfolding on the ancient Sith burial world of Korriban. Exar Kun, an exceptionally gifted but arrogant Jedi apprentice, abandoned his master in search of forbidden knowledge. Guided by the lingering spirit of Freedon Nad, Kun traveled to the jungle moon of Yavin 4, where he enslaved the primitive Massassi race and fully embraced the dark side. Armed with ancient Sith alchemy and a deadly new weapon of his own design, the galaxy's first recorded double-bladed lightsaber, Kun sought out any potential rivals to his power. This quest led him straight to Ulic Qel-Droma. When the two dark warriors clashed in a furious duel, the ancient spirit of Sith Lord Marker Ragnos manifested before them. Ragnos declared them the new leaders of the Sith. Exar Kun would be the Dark Lord, and Ulic Qel-Droma would be his primary apprentice. This newly formed Brotherhood of the Sith completely bypassed traditional military pacing, opting instead for a highly synchronized strategy of asymmetrical warfare. Ulic Qel-Droma took command of the conventional and alchemical military forces. He secured the loyalty of Mandalore the Indomitable after defeating him in single combat, bringing the terrifying Mandalorian Crusaders into the fold. He integrated the elite, golden-robed fleets of the Tatan Krath Order with the fearless, highly mobile shock cavalry of Mandalore the Indomitable. This massive combined armada targeted critical Republic infrastructure, supply lines, and shipyards, throwing the Republic military into absolute logistical chaos. Simultaneously, Exar Kun launched a far more insidious psychological campaign targeted directly at the heart of the Jedi Order. Kun traveled to the historical library world of Ossus, masquerading as a visionary scholar who had uncovered the ultimate secrets to unlocking the Force. He targeted the most impatient, ambitious young Jedi apprentices, feeding their hidden desires for greatness. Once he had selected his core disciples, Kun exposed them to a powerful ancient Sith Holocron on Yavin 4, utterly shattering their moral foundation and binding them to his absolute will. He didn't just build an army of dark side warriors, he created a sleeper cell network of fanatical assassins, ordering them to return to their respective masters across the galaxy and execute them in cold blood. The execution of Kun's sleeper cell directive remains one of the darkest, most traumatic chapters in Jedi history. In a single coordinated galactic time frame, dozens of respected Jedi Masters were brutally murdered by the very students they had raised, trained, and loved. On the world of Umbria, young fallen students turned on their instructors. Across isolated enclaves in the Mid-Rim, lightsabers ignited in the dark as pupils struck down their mentors from behind. These synchronized assassinations completely paralyzed the Jedi Order's command infrastructure. Trust within the Enclave completely evaporated. Jedi Knights could no longer trust their peers, let alone their apprentices. The Order was forced to pull back from their peacekeeping deployments across the Outer Rim just to protect their own sanctuaries, effectively leaving hundreds of innocent star systems completely defenseless against the advancing Krath and Mandalorian armadas. With the Jedi Order in complete disarray, Qel-Droma convinced a hesitant Alima Cato to launch a direct, breathtakingly aggressive strike on the galactic capital itself, Coruscant. The siege of Coruscant was an absolute nightmare of modern warfare. Dropping out of hyperspace without warning, the Krath fleets bypassed the outer defense grids while Mandalore the Indomitable's warriors, riding their fearsome basilisk war droids, plummeted through the atmosphere like screaming meteors. The Mandalorians tore through the sky lanes of Coruscant, strafing civilian sectors and bringing absolute devastation to the high-altitude plazas. Qel-Droma marched a massive ground detachment directly into the Republic Command Center, seeking to force an unconditional surrender from the Senate. The capital would have fallen that day if not for the combined defense efforts of Master Vodo Siosk Bass and a strike team of Jedi who managed to isolate and capture Ulic. Driven by jealousy, Alima Cato deliberately ordered the Krath forces to retreat, abandoning Ulic to his captors in a bid to claim absolute leadership of the cult for herself. The true apex of the war's galactic devastation occurred when Exar orchestrated a horrific trick to eliminate the Republic's primary staging area. Kun rescued Ulic from Coruscant, executing the Supreme Chancellor and Master Vodo on the Senate floor to show his total dominance. Afterward, Kun gifted Alima Cato an ancient, highly unstable Sith superweapon housed aboard a starship, directing her to attack a Republic fleet stationed near the Kron cluster. What Alima didn't know was that Kun had deliberately sent her on a suicide mission. When she activated the weapon, it unleashed an uncontainable wave of dark side energy that tore right into the cores of the cluster's 10 giant stars, triggering a catastrophic chain reaction, Kron supernova. The resulting hyperspatial shockwave instantly incinerated Alima and her fleet before expanding outward at blinding speeds directly toward the nearby Jedi world of Ossus. The supernova effectively forced the total panicked evacuation of Ossus, and the sky turned blood red and tectonic plates began to fracture under the approaching radiation wave. Thousands of years of irreplaceable Jedi history, lore, artifacts, and lightsaber crystals were permanently lost or abandoned. Worse still, Exar and Qel-Droma used the evacuation chaos to launch a brutal scavenging raid on the dying world. They slaughtered fleeting Jedi and looted the ancient vaults, stealing priceless artifacts and leaving the cradle of the Jedi Order to be completely melted into an uninhabitably scorched, radioactive wasteland by the stellar shockwave. But the peak of the war's tragedy occurred when Ulic's brother Qel-Droma confronted him on Coruscant. Blinded by darkside fury, Ulic struck down his own brother in cold blood. The shock of this fratricide broke the Sith poison's hold on Ulic. Horrified by what he had become, he surrendered to the Jedi and betrayed Exar Kun, revealing the location of the Sith stronghold on Yavin 4. The war reached its climax as a massive unified fleet of Jedi and Republic warships descended on Yavin 4. Knowing he could not defeat the combined might of the Jedi Order in physical combat, Exar Kun retreated to his temples. In a desperate final act of darkside sorcery, Kun drained the life force of his entire Misasi army. This horrific ritual allowed him to shed his physical form and bind his spirit eternally to the stone walls of the Misasi temples. To stop him, the Jedi fleet combined their power to unleash a massive wall of light side energy scorching the jungles of Yavin 4 and trapping Kun's spirit in a state of permanent slumber. The war was over, but the scars would run deep for generations to come, directly paving the way for the Mandalorian Wars and the rise of Darth Revan. The Great Sith War stands as a chilling reminder of how easily noble intentions can be corrupted by the allure of quick power. Qel-Droma was stripped of the Force, destined to wander the galaxy as a broken shell of his former self, while Exar Kun's trapped spirit would wait in the shadows of Yavin 4 for thousands of years. What do you think is the most tragic part of this conflict? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you to my creator patrons Aaron Hardy and D. Robert Handy, producer patron David Galindo, developer patrons Chris Androu and Sam Ruiz, and all of the YouTube members. Until we convene again, my fellow scruffy-looking Nerf herders, may the Force be with you.